Hey, my friends, it's Randy coming to you from what we like to call the yard at Bull Run. And it's kind of a playground we're creating to do just life change in ourselves and others. And looking forward to being with you for a season. We're going to start something regular. That regular implies whereas in the morning we do our daily dose. That means we do it every day that we're in town. Uh, this is more regular dose. We're just going to be kind of dropping these things in. We have a lot of purpose behind this. When Tammy and I began our ministry called Be Refreshed, we wanted to give fresh hope in the area of family, relationships, life, and soul. And so during COVID, we began looking just simply through the scriptures. We're going book by book through the scriptures. We call it our daily dose of Be Refreshed Soul Edition because we're dealing with faith. We're dealing with our soul in that sense. And so, but as we've progressed, we really want to bring in the other pieces. And so this is what we call our regular dose of Be Refreshed Life Edition. And so we're going to cover the other areas. We'll also cover the scriptures here, but we're just going to cover various areas. And so today I want to take you on a beginner journey with us, if you choose to, just to kind of walk. I want you to peer into kind of where Tammy and I are and what we're doing and where we're trying to go in life. And this is something that we would encourage you to do as well. When we do marriage counseling, one of the things that, or any kind of counseling really, one of the questions that I love to ask and have asked for over the years is this: how can we let it get better? Isn't that a great question when you think in terms of, how can I let my family situation get better? Not what needs to happen. That's a different question. That's where that my kids need to straighten up, or we need a new house. But the issue of us is how can I let my family get better, right? And for little things like maybe being present when you're there and undistracted. Maybe it's listening more and talking less, right? Those are simple things we can do to let life get better. But what if we wanted to do that really kind of in every area of our life? If we just wanted life to get better, whatever that looks like for you. Now, we've been around the block long enough to know that there's certain areas in life that you're going to struggle with. If it's marriage, there's about 5 areas. We already know there's going to be some struggles you're going to have in your marriage. And when I've usually mentioned those 5 things, I'll have couples that'll say, well, I'll say, so which one are you struggling with? No, all of them, right? And that's true with a lot of things in our life. And so when you think about it, there's 7 different areas of our life that we walk in and out of on a daily basis. You don't mind the rain, do you? I kind of like the sound of it. It's cozy out here. But there's 7 of those things that we look at that kind of our life revolves around, or rather our life is in those areas. And so it would be the area of our faith, right? Family and friends, our field, that is where we work, our finances, that is how we live and what we do with the money that we get, and then our fitness and fun. Those are the 7 areas that we walk through life. Now, if you're like me, you can probably I know we all like to think that we can multitask, but in reality, we really stink at that. There's not a lot that we can do and really excel when we're trying to do 2 or 3 things at the same time. So what we need is to find this balance so that we can make sure that as we grow, our circle the concentric circle is growing at a good pace. And so these 7 areas become kind of the barometer of how our life is going, right? If my life is all about money and our work, I'm going to neglect some things. If my life is all about family, we have a lot of people say, oh, I'm all about family. Well, then there are a lot of other things that are going to suffer if it's all about that. And so it's about balance. And so this is where we're going to journey. And over the next, several weeks, I want us to focus on 1 week at a time, looking at one of those 7 areas. Now, Tammy and I are working with a group called Oola that their purpose is to help create balance, growth, and purpose. And so we're beta testing an app for them, and so it's been very helpful. I'm going to share with you some things we're learning in the process. But what I want to do today, not to take a lot of your time, really is just to kind of look at those 7 areas and then get you to think through where are you in those, so that as we begin to talk about these, my goal is that you can see your end game. You can go, here's where I am, right? And here's where I want to be. And so all we're going to do is help you evaluate where you are right now, and then help you learn to decide where you want to be. Where you, not me. I know where I want to be. Where do you want to be? I want you to learn to do that. And then we're going to gauge it based on these 7 things. Sound like a plan, right? So we'll just be meeting maybe here, maybe who knows where, and we'll just be dialoguing about these things. So you might want to get a little notebook, or we can journal and journey through some of the things that we're going to be talking about here, just so you can kind of keep up. But what I'd like to do is just talk in terms right now of those 7 things. And I like to start with faith because that's where I am. And so you have to ask yourself, what is it? Where are you right now in your faith? Now, I don't mean your church attendance or your Bible study. I mean your trust factor in the Lord, the experience that you've had with Him. Your faith is a huge component. When we have trust, for me personally, in a sovereign God, it eases my anxiety to know that there's someone watching over me, even when I'm sleeping, even when I'm screwing up. There's someone that's watching over me. And the closer of my relationship develops with the Lord, the greater I grow in that area. And over the years of walking with the Lord for a number of years, my faith, there's a stability about it. But still, I want more, right? And so we're gonna define that a little more specific as we go along. But if I were just to ask you right now, hey, how's your faith? And I'm not asking church attendance. I mean, do you know the scriptures well enough that you've got hinge pins that you can hang life on? See, as I study scripture, I allow the scriptures to kind of weave their way into my life, and I usually do it through sayings. I know that God causes all things to work together for good to those that love God and called according to His purpose. That helps me when something difficult comes in. It shapes how I respond to things. I realize that the choices that I make today are the realities I live with tomorrow. That's a principle that flows out of you. As a man sows, that shall he also reap. And so I know that principle. I know that if God doesn't help isn't coming. Really. I mean, at the end of the day, I need God to intervene. And that's why we cry out to Him. The scripture says, James says, if you and I are we cheerful? Man, we ought to be praising God. Are we weary and worn out? Then we ought to be praying to God. And so where are you in that framework of mind? Do you feel like you've got a really good, healthy understanding of who God is? And if not, how can you let that get better? What needs to happen? You're already thinking some things, I know. How can you let that get better? What would those things be, and what would they look like? We're going to explore that as we get to that section. But the other section then would be family, right? Family is that immediate group. So for me and the Tamster right now, we're empty nesters. So that's our family, right? We lean on each other hard and strong, and we encourage each other. But we also have another family. There's Jackson, my 22-year-old, who's in town. My daughter Abby and her husband Brent and my 4 grandkids, they're in town. And so they also are a part of this family. Then there's also my son Jared and his wife Courtney and their 2 girls in Peachtree City. And there's my son Eric and his wife Kristen, my 3 grandsons in Nashville. That's my family. If I go just a little further out, my mom and dad and Tammy's mom and dad are gone, but we do have brothers and sisters. Tammy has sisters, and she's got a brother, and I've got a brother and a sister. We've got nieces and nephews, and I still have an aunt or an uncle still living. And so that's my family. Now, that should matter to us. Family generationally is huge. The scriptures are always speaking of family in a very powerful setting. And so how can we let that get better? How can we make our family better? That's the question that we're going to be broaching as we move through these things. How can I let my family get better, right? And so you should be asking yourself those questions. One, it may be what we talked about, being present, being in the moment with them, being intentional, right? Inviting them over, having planned times where we gather together. We do that a lot. We bring everybody in town under one roof, all 19 of us, just so that we can look at each other and talk and share and laugh, right? How can we let that get better? Then the next one is going to be your friends. Now, if you're like me, you probably think, hey, I'm upbeat, outgoing personality. Everybody's my buddy, but not everybody's my friend. It took me a while to realize that. But who are those friends? Who are the people outside of your family that you really rely on, that you want to be there for them and they want to be there for you, and you just walk through life together? Do you have that? Do you have a good network of friends? If not, what can you do to make that happen, right? Who do you want to pursue as a friend? And those kind of things. And again, we'll be talking about these as we move through the thing. Then we come to our field, right? That's where we work, or our purpose. Some of us have a day job and we have a dream job, right? Right now I still kind of have a little day job, but my dream job is to write. My dream job is to speak and to teach. That's my dream job, to lead people. So how can I let that get better? How can I get from here to here, right? So where are you in your field? Do you really love it? What can you do to make it better? What can you do to get that promotion? What needs to happen? How can you let it get better? You see how this works? So we're just focusing on these issues. Oh, then there's we walk into the area of finance, right? And all of us, if we're honest, probably think, man, I could use some more money. But the reality is, we probably have enough. I mean, I'm not saying all of you do, but we're in America. We have some resources, but finances comes down to three things: how I spend my money, how I save my money, and how I give my money. Those are the three areas where our money goes, right? It goes to spending, it goes to saving, and then it goes into giving. And so how can you let what you do get better? What we all want is margin. How can I let margin happen in my finances? What do I need to do to make that happen? And so those are the ones that we look at. I'm not sure where we are now. I mean, I've given to you, but I do know there's fitness is next, and fitness isn't just about our health, our physique, but it's also about mental, and it's also about emotional health, right? Those are all crucial issues, and so those things all play in sync with each other. So our mind, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. How we think affects what happens in my heart. That's the attitude. That's the emotional side of which I see life, right? So how can I let my emotions get better? How can I let my mental state get better? We could ask this: how can I have less anxiety? How can I have less stress? Those kind of things. And then there's the physical. How can I get my body healthy? Not just diet, not external looks, but a healthy body, a good immune system where you're not taking prescription drugs and those kind of things. How can we let that get better? And then the seventh one is fun, right? I mean, that's the rest that God calls us to enjoy life under the sun. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. That was a saying when we were growing up, right? So the question is, how's your fun life, right? For some of you, it may be, hey, I'm probably doing too much fun. But I mean, seriously, are you enjoying life? What are those things that you're doing that you can jump into where you can learn how to really, really enjoy life? These are the areas that I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to drag Tammy in here with me occasionally. We're just going to have a conversation. But I want us to talk about those things over the next season of what we're doing here. And I'm going to meet you here sometime around this time, several days a week. I'll try to let you know in advance. Some days we can't. Just look for Randy's Gone Live and pull it up and look at it. But let me ask you this question, because here's what we want with those 7 areas. Because some people would say, well, now my faith is most important, or my family's most important, or my work is really important to me. But really, if you're like me, I think we understand that God works in all of those areas. It's God at the center, and then everything else revolves around that. But if I'm not careful with my life, things can get out of balance, right? I can work too many hours and neglect my family. I can work too many hours and neglect my friends. And I can maybe get by with one of those being a little weak for a season. But like the spokes of a bicycle, if you lose one, you're okay. You lose 3 or 4, your tire may start to shape a little different. You lose too many of those, the wheel's just a square now, and you're bouncing down the road, and nobody wants that. It's like I think it's described as like spinning plates, right? We're just trying to keep plates spinning, and if we're not careful, it's just a mess as we're trying to do that. So what we want to do over the next several days and time together is learn how to make sure that we have real balance in what we're doing, right? I mean that we're growing in all of those areas. That's when we're in our zone, and that's where I want to help you get. And so, man, I'm going to leave you alone now. Other than I would ask you this: why don't you right now kind of rate yourself on those 7 things? I'll put the 7 things in the comments in a second, and you can look at this later if you didn't take notes. But just where would you rate yourself? Where do you think your strength is? Is it in the faith? Is it in family? Is it in your field? Where's your like, hey man, I'm really doing that well? Then where would you say this one, man, is the one I need to work on right now? Just having listened to what you say, this is the one I got to really crush. I got to fix it, right? Why don't you start there, just so where you know where you feel like you're doing good in one, or where you're not in the other. And then you can meet me back here tomorrow as we begin to talk in terms of in terms of fitness, and then we'll journey down that road. So, man, you guys have a great afternoon and evening. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow or sometime this week. Have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon, Lord willing.